Welcome to Coffee with Bridget. And today's coffee is Vanilla Caramel by Dutch Brothers, and it is super yummy. It's my favorite coffee. And I have it in my Good Luck Charm cup. But I guess today what I really wanted to talk about is the mother wound. Now, we talked about this in the book club on Nexus this past weekend, and it's a deep subject. It's really amazing how much our mother impacts our whole life. Now, this was in the Minds of Children section of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And it was really interesting. It made me think a lot this past week as I was reading the book and as I was creating the questions to ask the group, about my own mothering style and my mother. Now, there's 4 attachment styles for an infant with their parents. There's secure attachment, avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, and disorganized attachment. And these attachment styles follow us into adulthood and affect how we attach to our beloveds, our loved ones, our partners in life. And I thought that was very interesting. So I myself think I fell under the disorganized attachment style because I didn't know quite what to do with my mom. My mom was very unpredictable. And I can see that in my relationships. I don't know if I should cling to people or if I should be running away from them. So that seems really appropriate to me. It's interesting the information that's out there on the internet on these different attachment styles. They are very different from what is in the book. And a lot of attention is pointed towards anxious and avoidant styles. And sometimes anxious and avoidant are put together, which is interesting. But for the purpose of the book, we were talking about infants and their attachment to the parents. It was really interesting in the book how they discussed how a mother held a child, indicated what the child would be like when they grew up. They did multiple studies on that subject, and it really affected and impacted children. It could predict certain things about children, about whether or not a child was resilient. And it was really interesting. At the end of book club, I brought up resilience, and some people had a really negative reaction to resilience. And resilience in the book is simply being able to bounce back from adversity, from challenges. But I can see where some people being called resilient is almost an insult, because it's like you're being asked to be more mature than what you are ready for, or what, when you're a child. So having resilience as a child that's tough. But that was in the book, was resilience. And they said that children who had a loving communication with their mom, whose mothers were more lovable at the age of 2, those kids grew up to be more resilient. They bounced back faster. So when we have secure attachment to our parents, we feel secure in our relationships. We are more independent. We are more, I guess you could say, healthy in some ways. Whereas the other attachment styles, it varies a lot, and there's a lot of work to do. The good news is that we can change things. We don't have to be stuck in a certain category our whole lives. Just because we formed a certain type of attachment style when we were kids doesn't mean we have to have that attachment style as adults. We can recognize the pattern and we can change it, So that I found very interesting. And there was a lot of information in the book, in the part about mothering in the minds of children, that was really interesting. The fact the way the mom holds the baby impacts how the baby feels about itself, whether or not the baby feels there's something wrong. If a mother has trouble bonding with the child naturally feels like something's wrong with them. And some children start to regulate their mothers, which is probably what I did. And then there was, parentification, which is where the roles are reversed, where the kids are taking care of the parents and parenting the parents. And I know in my life, when I was a child, that definitely happened with me. That role reversal happened. Because my mom was very young. She was a child herself when she had us. She was 21 when she had me. So, I was very mature. I grew up very fast. And I just had that energy about me where people would come to me and tell me their issues, tell me their problems, and I'd give them advice. Would I ask my own kids for advice? No. I'm in my 40s. I've lived enough that, and I'm like, you're 7, you're 4. You are 7 and 4. I don't need your advice. It's just like when my 7-year-old tries to mother her little sister. I'm like, nope, I am the mother. You do not need to be the mother. It's cute that you're trying to take care of your little sister, but you do not need to mother your little sister. So it's interesting as an older parent, you see things differently and you recognize things, It's like when I'll tell my youngest, I need to go get a soda or a coffee or whatever in order to watch her play in her room because she likes me to sit down and watch her play. It's that attachment. She just wants me there. She doesn't need me to say anything. She doesn't need me to play with her. She just wants me there. I can play on my phone or listen to music or whatever, but she just wants me there. But she'll go and get me my soda or she'll go and get me my coffee and be like, here, Mama, come upstairs with me. And I feel bad when she does that because I'm like, you shouldn't have to do that. Or like when we're going out the door, my littlest one will be like, Mama, get your glasses. Mama, get your purse. And I just think that's so cute. But she's trying to parent me. And I'm like, little one, you don't need to do that. Mom's got this. But it's cute. She's just trying to be helpful. And she's really smart. So she knows these are the things Mom needs in order to get out the door. And I want to get out the door. She's impatient sometimes. Because I'll be taking my time to do other things. Like turn off the lights. Before I go out the door. Whew. Tell you what, I got sick last week. I had a runny nose and itchy eyes. All that's gone. Now it's just this cough, and this cough has been annoying. I had to use my inhaler for the first time yesterday in a long time. And it took me a bit to find it because I hadn't used it in so long. It was in a purse, and yeah, that was difficult. But yeah, so and it was interesting. The mother wound is interesting. And, it's definitely, it gives you food for thought about being being a mother yourself, and did I, love them enough? And was I lovable enough to where they have that secure attachment? I think both of mine do. The oldest might have a little bit of an anxious attachment. And the only reason I say that is because she doesn't like to leave Mom. She wants to stay with Mom every morning. She holds on to me really tight. I want my mommy. And then when I pick her up at the end of the day, she always runs up to me, mommy, she's very, very attached. But I don't know how much of that is a game that she plays and how much of it is really what's going on in her mind. I think she likes the attention from it. But yeah. It makes you wonder when you read stuff like that. You're like, am I a good enough mother? Did I do enough? Did I love enough? Did I, raise them to where they're going to be, successful adults? And you just have to hope that you do, you just have to hope that, in the process of them growing up that, they feel that love, and my love for my 2 girls is unconditional. Like they could do nothing wrong in my eyes ever. The youngest and the oldest sometimes get mad at me and go, I don't love you. And I go, I love you anyways. It doesn't matter if you love me, I love you. And then they come around and they're like, I'm sorry, I love you. But that's the meanest thing they can do to me is say, I don't love you. And I think they know that. But they also know that no matter what, they can't push me away. So it is what it is. Parenting is interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you food for thought. Definitely made me think. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care and bye for now.